Hello, I'm the Angry Spork, taking issue with Masters of the Universe Volume 2 from Image Comics. Last week, Skeletor created an evil plan to make himself a backdoor into Castle Grayskull. Of course, He-Man and crew came in to put the kibosh on it. They managed to stop his portal device, but at the cost of Man-at-Arms. The King and Queen of Eternia have one less paycheck to hand out, and 2 fewer hyphens to write. The cover is a tad on the generic side, but by no means bad. Stratos flying into the sky in a dynamic pose. The alternate wraparound is like a movie poster, a painted, stylized aesthetic, and really interesting. After the recap, we go back to the mourning Teela, and He-Man telling her that they'll find Man-at-Arms. Somehow. He takes a moment to pontificate at how he was not just a brilliant scientist, but a caring father and wise man that others, like him, could confide in.
What did you say? I meant he was a great guy to have a beer with and pick up women at the clubs. Yeah, I don't have feelings, I'm He-Man!
Suddenly, energy starts crackling within the remains of the gateway, with Man-at-Arms appearing and falling to the ground.
The long search is over.
But if you think all the tension is gone, Manny gives a cryptic warning of someone's approach and the need to protect the king before passing out. They can't wait for reinforcements they radioed for off-panel, and their vehicles were all destroyed. He-Man will take his wounded friend on Battle Cat and hope to intercept one of their backup transports, while Teela and Ram Man take the other soldiers to confirm that enemy forces have left the hemisphere. Also, note Manny's left arm, which was injured and bandaged last issue. Muscles says Grayskull and the Sorceress are safe for now.
She has ways of letting me know if something's wrong. She texts in all emojis and only I can figure out what she means. Most people can't tell if she's reporting an out-of-control fire or just wants to hang out and play Scrabble.
The keeper of the castle looks out a window, but disappears when Teela briefly looks back, because I guess she really commits to the whole mystique. We go to the Sky City, Avion, where Stratos is chatting with his sister Hawk about how awesome their homeland is. There's a smile on every face. And a chunk of the city vanishes in a pink flash, taking with it 2 nearby buildings and a couple causeways. This is definitely going to require an update to their tourism brochures.
Impossible!
Don't try saying that around Tom King. I'll tell you it's not impossible, it's Batman! Or possibly Bane. Stratos orders to have the council assemble and citizens alerted in case this happens again. Unfortunately, they went with the duck and cover safety protocol left over from the 1940s. In the royal palace, Prince Adam and Orko arrive in the infirmary, informed on Man-at-Arms' condition by Manny Faces. The word man must be the Eternian equivalent to John. Anyway, his brain activity seems normal, but he's comatose after being phased through the dimensional rift, on top of his battle injuries. Teela steps out as Adam talks to Ram Man, and despite the loss of several soldiers and Manny's current state, he says his mentor will be well again in no time, and he probably wouldn't want them lingering around like ghouls. Especially Orko with his wispy cloak, pointed ears, spindly fingers, non-existent face, floating around everywhere like a ghoul. But mostly because Man-at-Arms just hates Orko. Teela doesn't take his remarks very well, and thinks his attempts to lighten the mood simply ignores what they've suffered, and he needs to grow up. Adam says he just wants everyone to be happy, and didn't mean any offense. She apologizes, understanding what he was doing, and didn't intend to take her stress out on him.
Hey, that's what I'm here for. Prince Adam, the human sponge.
Sponge? Does this look like something a sponge would do?
Despite Adam's optimism, Teela misses the days when they didn't have the constant threat of Skeletor to deal with, when they were kids playing in the palace without the responsibility they do now, and this life isn't what she wants. The prince says she's accomplished a lot, being a skilled warrior and a captain of the Royal Guard at such a young age, and if she understood that she's just as strong as her dad, she'd also understand Adam's faith in his speedy recovery.
But he might wake up faster if he heard us making out just outside his...
Yep, okay. Kneeing me in the groin. That's fair. Totally fair.
So a couple things about this scene. First, Adam may mean well, but I feel like he's missing Teela's point. She's become battle-weary, concerned for her dad, and doesn't feel this is the life for her. Noting her accomplishments and rising in military ranks, even for her age, may look good on her resume, but it doesn't seem to really get at the heart of the issue. confidence that her dad will recover doesn't really relate to no longer wanting to personally fight. Whether Manny gets better or not, the battle remains. Second, while Tila has been technically showing irritation, sadness, frustration, and so forth, it feels like the artists are doing the bare minimum to show those emotions so she still looks attractive. In the first panel here, you could call that being fed up with Adam's suggestion of partying when Man-at-Arms recovers, but it's also a look a supermodel might give for a photo shoot. It doesn't fully convey what she is or should be feeling in this moment. It could just be me, it could just be coincidental that they wanted more subdued emotions from the character and it only appears saucy unintentionally. But this is comics where characters are mostly mandated to look attractive, so... oh. Anyway, the two agree to keep this chat to themselves, and Manny Faces takes Adam to the king and queen, who are meeting with Stratos about the phenomenon in his homeland. More segments have up and vanished, and the bird folk came to seek Man-at-Arms' scientific prowess to determine the cause. And he's filled in on why that's not happening anytime soon. So Faces will accompany him, and Adam thinks he could join the investigation, but instead is told by his dad to contact He-Man, since the lad has spent so much time with Man-at-Arms, who's usually the one to do it. The prince leaves, looking pretty dejected as he hears people's preference to having his swole alter ego on the case. I guess it kinda makes sense for him to feel down, but at the same time, it's like Clark Kent being offended that citizens want Superman to deal with the giant space iguana attacking downtown Metropolis instead of a mild-mannered reporter. Tila sees some lightning nearby, Adam transforming into He-Man even though she doesn't know that, so goes to check on her dad. She asks him to give her a sign that he hears her, and somberly notes how lucky Adam is to not only have his biological parents, but a second father in Man-at-Arms to inspire him. That's when he begins muttering something about the rebels, and instead of a loving family reunion, he grabs her and claims He-Man will kill them all. Jeez, Dad, you don't have to be so dramatic. If you don't like the idea of me dating the guy, just say so. Also, what's wrong with his shoulder? It looks like there's an extra forearm growing out of there. Good thing he's in the infirmary, because he needs to get that looked at. On the way to Avion, He-Man is uncertain he'll be able to find out what's plaguing the city, but feels there may be a connection to Manny's condition. Don't know what gives him that idea, other than main character privilege, but whatever. When they finally arrive, the city has been ravaged by more destruction, with communications likely severed after Stratos and his team left.
And some jerk randomly pixelated the remains. That's just adding insult to injury.
As the team lands, and it doesn't look like there's anyone left, either through evacuation or disappearance, Facey McFaceface hands out tracking devices to keep tabs on them in case they vanish, and detectors to find any trace energy, whether magical or tech-based. He switches to robot mode, and they begin their search, splitting into teams. Hawk and the other two Avions head down a corridor, while Stratos plans to look at the most recently affected areas. For now, all they can do is collect as much data as they can and compare it to any findings by the city's scientists. A blue light fills the corridor, then flyers more resembling bats emerge, looking none too friendly. Despite the phenomena destroying homes and vanishing people, the city council refused to cancel Comic-Con. This isn't the most accurate Green Goblin cosplay I've ever seen, but who am I to judge? The issue also has a pin-up of Beastman with some weird flying serpent bat wolf creatures or something. Then on to issue 3. The main cover is a basic image of the sorceress in front of some crystalline structures. Much like with the Stratos cover, nothing too dynamic, but not bad. Sometimes a vague cover is good to prevent spoiling or overselling the story inside. The alternate wraparound is another movie poster-worthy submission. Snake Mountain and an enormous moon in the background, while the main hero attacks his nemesis. It looks really cool, but still avoids giving away anything to the story, which has taken a bit of a turn, because now everyone is in the sky, possibly above a cotton candy forest, with He-Man and Faces on hover platforms. More of the creatures arrive, and Stratos fights a pair of them off, removing one's harness and forcing it to glide to the surface. He gets taken by surprise by one that grabs him from behind.
Dirty pool, creature!
Funny that, much like on Earth, Avions have a game of pool and eventually used it in a derogatory axiom, yet they apparently have not fully embraced pants technology. He gets a better look at his assailant and sees a tracking device on her harness, leading him to believe it's Hawk. He's attacked from his 6 o'clock, injuring a wing and sending him downward. but he's caught by He-Man before he can hit the ground. He tells them that the Bat creatures may not be their enemies, saying he saw the comm device from Faces and believes one of them to be his sister.
Usually when she tries to kill me, she gets our cousins to help her out. You know, keep it in the family.
As more of them swoop in, an explosion of pink light disrupts their attack and they fall to the ground, now a flock of bird people. Manny Faces analyzed the energy and determines it was similar to the readings of the creature's first appearance, and its origins are not of their world. Faces claims that
Everything is the way it was before.
just that now they've got a lot of injured, though we haven't seen any of the structures restored, so maybe he's just talking about the people? For now, they need to find enough medical personnel to treat the wounded, then hop on over to Castle Grayskull to see if the sorceress can give them some insight. At the palace, Man-at-Arms has become more agitated, rambling over Keldor's forces moving out soon. Keldor being Skeletor's name before his garish makeover. Also that they have to warn King He-Man, and that everyone not listening to him must mean that Lyn has entranced them.
Patient, iron, high, heart, swollen big. You, what makes sick?
He starts fighting off the guards with his IV, demanding to see He-Man.
You people are telling me to calm down or all crazy. I want to be taken to the guy I said 5 minutes ago was going to kill us all, right now. And where's my 5 a.m. fuchsia with the Abernathy Tabernacle?
Ram manages to restrain him while Teela tells Orko to get Prince Adam and Faces. But with the former in Avion, what can the prince do? She isn't sure. Good thing he's not around to hear that vote of confidence, but is frustrated by her dad's dilemma. As Manny is bound to the bed and sedated, all she can do is hope that the impish wizard is right, that the doctors and nurses will figure out what to do.
Once again, Dr. Jan Itor. Dr. Jan Itor.
At Castle Grayskull, He-Man and Faces have arrived to pick the sorceress's brain, but she oddly doesn't open the drawbridge when she senses a permissible visitor near. Fortunately, the power sword doubles as a key fob with the right words, and they gain entry. It's mentioned that the sorceress didn't intervene when Manny was injured in the earlier battle because her primary duty is as an oracle, only getting involved for the protection of Grayskull, its secrets, or Eternia itself. Given her responsibilities and willpower, Muscles tends not to question her motives. I make exceptions with Oscar nominations, but only because she has really terrible taste in movies. Potential intruders are left at the mercy of illusions that get them walking in circles, whereas allies are guided by lights in the right direction. But like with the bridge, that ain't the case this time. Since he doesn't have X-ray vision like another famous buff superhero, he follows a hunch as they ascend some stairs and open a door, revealing the sorceress, very weakened to the point she couldn't even send a warning. Good thing she's bound to the castle, so the way to her throne room will be illuminated for them as He-Man carries her. Either that or those skull torches operate on really glitchy motion sensors. Shortly, she's placed on her throne that's totally not ostentatious at all. I mean, can you imagine a chair that doesn't sit on top of a huge pyramid with giant wings resting above a cavernous pit? That wasn't there in the previous story. Eternians aren't savages, for crying out loud. Moving on, she's feeling better now, having been overwhelmed by Evil-Lyn, who had become stronger than anticipated, and it would have been a while before she could make it to the throne herself. I guess we're ruling out low blood sugar. Just as well, that outfit probably doesn't have any pockets to carry a protein bar. She's asked about the strange goings-on in Avion, and she confirms it was caused by the same dimensional rift that was opened up outside Grayskull in the clash with Skeletor. It's led to their world to interchange with an evil opposite version of itself, one alternate realm of many that may have long been considered unknowable to reach, even beyond the realm of Grayskull's lauded secrets. People must be returned to their proper world for things to get back to normal, and He-Man says that things in Avion did just that. Though again, we didn't see those structures restored, only some bird warriors exchanged for their bat counterparts. But there's still someone in Eternia that doesn't belong. And of course, the sorceress has to take the really scenic route describing who she means until He-Man figures out it's Man-at-Arms.
Rounds over. You go.
Maybe she just likes being dramatic, or all her solitude is getting to her and she's trying to keep company around for as long as possible. Though it raises the question of why Hawk's evil bat counterpart had the trackers she was given. Did the alternate world's man Evil Faces coincidentally create identical trackers? Or did the tracker stay in-world when the swap happened and attach to Bat-Hawk when she appeared? In the palace, a guard passes by what looks like a sleeping Manny, hears a clanking sound, and finds he's escaped his bonds. Moments later, Tila and Orko find said soldier unconscious, so she heads to rally the Royal Guard to find her dad. The comic ends with the unsettled at-arms flying away, and if the sorceress is right, he may possess secret knowledge never meant to be revealed that could threaten the balance in Eternia. The bread for our foot-long subs are actually only 11.3 inches. We were too proud to use a ruler, and we had to commit to the lie. The pacing seems to have slowed a tad, but otherwise remains steady. Partly it's the exposition, like why the sorceress is kept to herself, but some of the panels are also so big that they take up page space to give us brief moments, or the occasional splash page that feels a little fillery. That being said, it isn't overly done, and I do think it nicely built up to the twist of the parallel universe. Not too surprising for a reader that was paying attention, but it keeps the idea from feeling contrived. Though if this Man-at-Arms is an evil version, shouldn't that mean he doesn't have a mustache? Or would he just have a goatee without the mustache portion? Or would he have a mustache on top of a mustache? Anyway, tune in next week to see if he destabilizes all of Eternia, or just goes looking for his favorite dive bar. I'm the Angry Spork, and man, have I got issues.